I want to turn now to the former governor of Minnesota, an ex-Navy SEAL, a legendary pro wrestler, and the author of American Conspiracies. Lies, lies, and more dirty lies that the government tells us. Joining me now with his take on Eric Massa is Jesse Ventura. Hey, Jesse.
Well, I guess my first question would be this, having been in the Navy, how do you, was he on an aircraft carrier? That would be a way to find out, because he said he served with 10,000 Navy men. Well, the only place you're going to see 6,000 guys at one time is on an aircraft carrier.
And why would he say, oh, ask 10,000 sailors? How would they know anything anyway? Well,
probably because it's very known that when you deploy overseas, and I'm, of course, speaking pre-marriage for me, womanizing becomes very important when you're deployed in these different ports. That's what you do.
Oh, you're devil.
But then again, remember, I'm not from the Blue Water Navy. I'm from the Brown Water Navy.
The Brown Water Navy?
That's the slang term they call for the Navy SEALs and the river guys and all that. We're in the Brown Water.
So less tickling in the brown and more tickling in the blue?
I would say there's way more tickling in the blue.
In the blue, there's more. Okay. Now, this guy, you know, he originally said, first it was cancer, then he said the Democrats ran him out of Congress. Now, you're a conspiracy theorist. That sounds like a conspiracy theory, doesn't it?
Well, you know, I don't know. He obviously, as you said, Joy, this guy's got some real problems, and I don't know. I can't answer that. I don't know.
You don't know. But something's going wrong. I mean, these are two headlines from this week. Congressman admits tickle fight, and no back wax for Rubio, which is this GOP guy, Marco Rubio, accused of using the RNC money to get a back wax. What is going on?
Well, first of all, and I'm going to shock you with this, most elected officials, I think, are underpaid. And that's one of the reasons why they stoop to this stuff of making money on the side and all this. Well, like when I was governor, I got paid $120,000 a year. Okay. They made me pay for every meal that my family had in the governor's residence was deducted from my check, plus mileage with the governor's vehicle going to and from the Capitol. You deduct taxes. I was the governor of the state of Minnesota, and I was making $60,000 a year. But I was above board.
Before taxes? You had to pay taxes?
After. 120 to start with, so but 60. I probably made 60 at the end. Well, that's why I did those other jobs on the side on the weekend. Remember, I refereed and got them all upset one night with the WWE.
Yes, they didn't want you to do that.
Yeah, and then I worked for the XFL on the weekend also. But my point being, and I took heat for that, but the thing was, in my 4 years as governor, the Capitol was never open on the weekend.
I see.
And yet I had a ranch where I baled hay for $3 a bale, and no one complained about that.
No, they did not. Okay, Jesse. Stay right there.
Sure.
When we come back, I want to get your take on Rush Limbaugh's latest travel plans. Back with me is the always outspoken Jesse Ventura. Let's talk Limbaugh. Rush, that is. This whole Massa controversy gave him an excuse to make a racial slur against New York Governor David Paterson. Not that Rush needs an excuse to make a racial slur. Listen.
So David Paterson will become the Massa, who gets to appoint whoever gets to take Massa's place. So for the first time in his life, Paterson's going to be a Massa.
Does the satire defense work here? Because, you know, when Sarah Palin went after him, when he said retarded, she gave him a pass at first because she said, well, he's a satirist.
Right.
Is this satire?
It's definitely entertainment. It's not news.
No, it's not news.
None of these shows are
But
news.
he's taken seriously as a news person in many quarters in this country.
Not by me.
Not by me either, but a lot of people do.
Sure. Is it satire? I don't know, but he certainly has the ability, and I don't subject him to anything bad because he does satire. Now, what was racial about that?
Well, I guess to call David Paterson Massa, you know, because he's a black guy. It's kind of like, I mean, he referred to Barack once as Barack the Magic Negro. It's like it's at least the most insensitive and thoughtless and stupid
but what
remark.
does Massa mean? He means that guy.
No, but he's doing a play on words on Massa, you know, like from Gone with the Wind.
It must be flying over my head then. You're getting it and I'm not.
Okay. All right, but I mean, he made a comment called these girls nappy-headed hoes. And he got thrown off the air. But Rush Limbaugh gets a pass. He's still on the radio no matter what he says. So, listen, I'm for free speech.
It all comes down to money.
That's true. He makes a lot of money.
Absolutely, and he brings in ratings, so he's going to get a pass when it comes down to money.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the truth of the business. Karl Rove, you like him?
I respect him for what he can accomplish. Do I like him? I can't really say I like him because I don't really know him.
Well, he says in his new book that Bush didn't deliberately lie about WMDs. You buy that?
No, I don't buy that.
You think that Bush deliberately lied, and the Cheney, the whole administration?
Yeah, because they clearly wanted to go to war in Iraq. We saw that from all the testimony after 9/11. A day later, they were already talking about Iraq. And actually, it was when Bush announced that we were going to go into Iraq, that's when I started to question 9/11. I didn't question it before that. But when he announced we were going into Iraq, I sat back and went, wait a minute. There wasn't one of these supposed hijackers that was from Iraq. Why are we going into Iraq?
There was Saudi Arabian and...
I felt that going into Iraq was equivalent to Pearl Harbor when the Japanese attacked us. Well, then let's go get the Koreans. After all, they're Asian too.
And
that to me is how I read it, and I thought, what has Iraq got to do with this?
But in your book, American Conspiracies, you mentioned that, I mean, you tell it to me, what you say about 9/11 and Bush administration.
Well, here's the deal. When they had the 9/11 Commission, Zelikow from the White House ran it. Now, how do you get an investigation? And here's the bigger part. Let me hit this first. Whitewater. They spent $100 million to learn Bill Clinton cheated on his wife. $100 million. You know what they first allocated to investigate 9/11, which was stonewalled for 2 years? $4 million. It ended up $13 million. 3,000 people die, and they allow $4 million to investigate it, yet Whitewater, $100 million to learn the president cheated?
Well, Whitewater was a real estate sort of thing.
Yeah, but what did they learn? Nothing. The only thing ultimately they learned was the president cheated on his wife.
Okay, so what do you make of that?
Well, I make of it that they never, ever had any serious intentions for an investigation of 9/11. You can't spend that little amount of money and get a true investigation. And you got Zelikow running the whole thing. Well, what he did, he didn't allow any information that didn't point to what they wanted for them people to hear and see, just like the Warren Commission.
Okay, but now you were saying, either it was this morning or I read it or whatever, that you think that the Bush administration knew that they were going to attack the World Trade Center.
They never saw any NSA documents. They were withheld because of Zelikow. We've got the NSA documents through discovery. And the NSA documents state clearly as early as May that this threat was there. It ramped up in July to where they actually thought it was going to happen, and it didn't, and then ultimately it happened in September.
Well, there was a memo.
Well, the August 6th memo.
Right.
Well, there's more than just that one. There's a bunch from the NSA. Richard Clark was from the NSA. And you got the August 6th memo, and then Condoleezza Rice sits there in front of the 9/11 Commission and says, we had no idea they were going to take planes and ram them into buildings. Well, that's exactly what the memo said. How could you not have an idea?
Well, what they would respond to that is, you know, there were a lot of memos coming by. We're not going to pay attention to just some unsolicited memo. That's what they said.
Well,
I'm on the same page with you.
When there's the threat that this country is going to be attacked, and everybody, what was Condoleezza shopping, I think? George Bush was on vacation, and all this going on. Well, to me, that's not taking protection of the nation very seriously. And plus, if they knew all this stuff, why weren't they preparing for it? And here's the other key. I come from the Navy SEALs where failure is not an option. I think air defense is the same way. We can all agree it was a major failure that day of our air defense system. Why was no one fired or demoted, yet people were promoted?
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Nobody was fired. Well, you don't fire anyone if you don't want an investigation. If you start firing people, people are going to start talking, saying, hey, why am I fired? This is what I did, blah, 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 and they're going to start talking. If you don't want an investigation, let business go on as usual Monday morning.
Okay, but Jesse, you're not saying that what I understood this morning, that the Bush administration was behind the attacks.
I don't know that.
But what do you say about that?
I say that they certainly knew it was going to come. They did nothing to protect us, and they may have enjoyed it because they had an agenda. They wanted to go to war in Iraq.
Enjoyed killing 3,000 people?
No, they enjoyed the fact that they would be able to carry forth their agenda. Let's remember, as I said earlier, you know, the Gulf of Tonkin incident, they now admitted never happened. Well, 58,000 of us died after that little lie.
Well, Robert McNamara...
58,000 is a lot more than 3.
The truth came out with Robert McNamara
But how many years?
Many years later.
Well, do we want to wait 40 or 50 years?
We'll all be dead by then when it comes out.
Not if I keep working.
Okay, I'm not done with you yet. More with Jesse Ventura in a minute. Stay there.